So, back to our meeting, we talked with Mayor Lee and Director Miller. Excuse me, I'm gonna take this mask off. That's all right. So we took it to our board that following evening, discussing what they wanted to do. That they would do a contract, and if the rescue squad decided to ever pull out, we could get those frequencies back as long as it was on an analog system. If it went digital, of course, the frequency would be split, and that would be used on by other agencies as well. So we couldn't do that. So our board, we met that same evening, and our board requested some documentation from the mayor's office stating that grant required the frequency to be in the county's name. So the following day, November 10th, I contacted Director Miller back and Mayor Lee and spoke with them over the phone, telling them, basically what our board had said, requesting those documents. And we were told that it would take too long to produce those documents. I then asked for a price, what it would cost, what the county would charge us to put our own system up. And I was also told that it would take too long to prepare those documents as well. So we've since have met with Churchill, our board of directors met with Churchill Rescue Squad board of directors, and Tim at any time if you want to chime in, but they've agreed the same. Both rescue squads are willing to lease both of our frequencies, both sets that we own to the county for nothing. And once we got on the system, why in the world would we pull out of the system? So we're willing to keep the frequency pairs in our name and let the county use them just like we're doing now. It's no different than from today than to the new system. So since then, we kind of come up with some plans, just in case scenarios. So once we called back and told the mayor and Director Miller what the board had said, they said that they would continue to bill out the system, leaving the rescue squads off once again. Like I said, we were left off in 2015. So we met with Churchill and kind of come up with a couple different plans. We have an emergency plan in place. If the county was to shut our radio system off, we could be live on another system in 24 hours, worst case scenario, if we had to. So we have that security backing us. We've contacted a couple of different vendors and got some prices on some stuff. The vendor I spoke to, I've got two different quotes here. Like I said, we met with Churchill, and what we kind of decided was building a 2-channel, 4-site system. I don't know which towers we would use. I know probably Bays Mountain and Short Mountain because those are not owned by the county. And we've got a couple different towers that we've been talking to the owners of them about possibly putting some equipment on those towers, but we don't have any definite answers. But for us to build a system, like I said, a 2-channel, 4-site system with a year of maintenance covering it is $100,670, and that's including the install. And that system is capable of upgrading to digital, because if we had to do something, we wanted to make sure it was upgradable at some point, so we wouldn't be staying on analog for the duration of the equipment. So we wanted to make sure there was some kind of cushion in there. This company has also agreed to build this system and basically lease it to us. And there's a there's a 5-year requirement, contract with that, and that's $22,800 a year if we lease that. And that would be, like I said, a 2-channel system. There'd be one main channel that both us and Churchill would be paged out on, dispatched on, when en route on, stuff like that. And then we would have a backup channel. If there's something going on in Churchill and we have a grounding in Mooresburg, we can switch to that, and that way we're not tying up the channel. And that channel would only require one set of frequencies from Hawkins County Rescue and then one set from Churchill. So that would still leave us with a extra set of frequencies in Churchill, you know, we could use one for our, mobile repeater and whatever Churchill wanted to do with theirs. So that's kind of where we're at now. You know, I know you guys approved $425,000, and to my understanding, if this was prior to the grant being received, so if the grant was received, whatever the grant amount was, it would be that less coming out of savings. So if you're taking 425 basically from your unassigned fund balance, and you got 250 in grant, you're really only taking 175 out, is to my understanding. Is that correct, you guys? Yeah. Okay. So just rough estimate, you know, if we can't come to an agreement, you know, like I said, with the mayor's office and Director Miller, if we did add that, you know, because there's no way that, and I know Hawkins County, and I'm sure Churchill's in the same boat, there's no way we can afford, you know, just put in a little over $50,000 a piece for a system. I mean, this year we got 54,000, but usually we get 49, and our budget is well over 100,000, so that's a big chunk to add to that. So, you know, we would be asking the county to help us out on that. So even if you, even say you guys did help us out and build that system, if we can't come into agreements, you're really only looking at 277, 670 coming out of your unassigned fund balance, and you're still saving 147,000 roughly of the original 425 that was approved, if you follow me there. So, do you guys have any questions? I know I do.
Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And I'm just trying to get back on the same page with you, again, because we don't understand what's, okay, so frequency, your board told you that you needed to be on the county.
No. We own the frequency
You
right
own
now.
frequency.
Hawkins County Rescue Squad owns the frequency, but the mayor's office, well, Mayor Lee and Director Miller, they're advising us that for us to be on the new system, that the frequencies would have to be in the county's name.
Okay.
And we're agreeing to lease them to the county, but they're wanting us to sign them completely over, and we don't feel comfortable doing that.
Okay, so when you said when ago you lease them for free.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
don't charge, okay. So that covers the money on that. So what's the difference in maybe, Jamie, I mean, why, instead of just, what's the hold instead of leasing, why give, I mean, or why give instead of leasing, which one was it?
I sense it completes the issue when the grant comes involved, because we have to meet purchasing requirements of that grant. I directly asked Kevin what his opinion was on how this grant was worded, on if the frequencies could be in another name, and he said in his opinion they should be in the county's name because it was a county awarded grant. That's when he relayed to me some documents were requested that don't exist yet. The governor's not signed a contract on it yet, so that document doesn't exist. And that's where we're at on now.
Well, on the, Director Miller, do you happen to know how long it would take to get those documents? I mean, is there any?
They've not given us a timeline yet. We're working on the governor's time on that, and obviously in COVID, everything's slowed at this point.
So how close are we, if we wait, to where you're telling me to wait, if we wait on documents to be produced that y'all need, you know, and then we just lease instead of give, is there a reason that, I mean, we can't wait, or you're saying you're okay to wait, well, ago, you just.
I mean, our equipment that we're on right now is 2005 equipment, like I said, but the county, I don't even think has sent out the system to be, you know, sent it out for bid. And I know getting these frequencies is part of how that system is designed. So that's why we're trying to, you know, come to an agreement. And like I said, you know, we're willing to lease the frequencies to the county. We're on county equipment now that was bought on grant money. So I don't really see the big difference, what the difference is from the current system to a new system, if that makes sense.
So, and Jamie, I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth. So, we were just advised that it be in the county name, not told it had to be, right? I mean, what's the repercussions? I mean, since something, I mean.
I imagine there'd be purchasing repercussions. The county's purchasing, county mayor's office is purchasing agent for the county.
Would hurt the grant wise, I mean, since the grant was given, if the frequency stay in their name and just they lease them to us, could a lease agreement not count as the same as, my mind, I mean, if you're leasing something and signing over a lease or something, you know, to my mind, it would be the same as giving, I mean, you know, you're giving them rights, but you're just keeping
Right.
it.
It would be-
No difference in leasing a car.
Yeah, it's kind of.
If you put it in the county's name, in leasing, it's gonna turn around and almost do what they consider a dual licensing of the channel. So with that being said, it's gonna be in Hawkins County's name.
And they can do what they want to.
And they can do whatever they want to with it.
Because it's
But we
leased,
still own
because
it.
they're paying, you know, whatever.
Because we were told, I was told by Mayor Lee, the reason why this is also being done is because the county cannot acquire the additional frequencies that they're needing to build this new system. Well, if the county's having a hard time getting them, what makes our two departments that find about $49,000 to turn around and give up our frequencies? So we give them up. What's to say the next mayor comes in, the next CMA director comes in, 10 years down the road, we're ready to pick this thing to digital or whatever else. Hey, we never get them back. If we can't get them back then, so you're gonna turn around and you're gonna have two agencies in this county that provides rescue services, whether it be extrication, technical rescues, anything from animal rescues to body recoveries, no longer have a radio channel at all. We have a main one, and both agencies have a main one and also have a backup.
What band would the new rental system be in, what frequency band?
VHF, it'd be using our current frequency right now.
Are you guys following me?
I know that some of it's,
I'll give you the breakdown of this, but this will get complex. I will, the mayor is the one that's the purchasing agent over this. He basically said, go to the rescue squad, try to do a partnership, with them. He brought everybody in. Both people have needs here that the other one can satisfy. One being the rescue squad has the frequencies, we have the grant for the equipment. The proposal that was took to them was for the VHF frequency pairs to go under the county's name, with two of those that would be able to be allowed to go back to them at any time they want to terminate the contract. The other two would be held by the county until they were no longer needed to be used for a digital system. Those channels right now, one is being used as a backup, one's being used as an event channel. There's two of these licenses that are not constructed to specs of the license. But in return for that, was basically the county provides the county-owned equipment for those frequencies, the property and leased radio sites, paid utilities, insurance for the repeater components and the repeaters that was maintained by the county, paid maintenance as long as the county retained the frequencies, the additional use of the north site when it's added. This system cost us around $40,000 that we're on now in reoccurring cost. So any reoccurring cost would be also addressed. Also, that was allowing them to write the contract with any specifications that they wanted added into the contract as long as everybody agreed on it, was what was worded at that time. The way this was avoided, I don't know how that 2005 money worked, but the way this was avoided in 2014 is the county went out and obtained a license in the county's name for EMS. That system was all built for fire, EMS, and law enforcement. And the way they basically avoided this was to go out and get a new frequency for EMS that made one of these frequencies in question become unused at that time. The other frequency that we're talking about that would be held by the county would be Churchill EMS's frequency, was obtained by the rescue squad after they went out of business. Both these frequencies conventionally in the past, say 2004 and prior, were used by EMS for communications throughout the county. It was their primary need or their primary use. Radio license have to be constructed in order to stay held. We lost license for that in the past. Also, that would keep these licenses constructed so we could hold them.
So our whole main thing is just like I was saying, it's a difference in the word lease and the word own.
right.
I mean, and thanks Tammy for explaining. And I'm still, you know, me personally, I'm still at the point to where, you know, I lease cars. and I can take them wherever I wanna take them, do what I wanna do with them. I mean, obviously I can't paint them or anything else, you know, but I mean, I can do what I wanna do. So I guess the point now would be, you know, Jimmy, why not, just because y'all were advised not to, I mean, how can we go about finding out the difference in being advised not to do something and we can't do it? I mean, that's only, you know, because if we can do it and, you know, and put them on there and they're gonna give us at least their frequencies to us and not cost us anything. I mean, you know, we could always bring resolutions or whatever, you know, if we had to, you know, the legal work into it to make sure everything went back to the way it was gonna be in the long term. If we had to, you know, we can get there. You know, so that's the only hold up. How do we find out why and why not, or yes and?
Evan Sanders is who's managing this grant, and he told me in his opinion, they should be in the county's name to use that money for purchasing for the county. He said they could push that contract along further if we needed to, whatever. It really doesn't matter to me, to be honest with you, if you can,
I just want everybody to be able to communicate. I mean, regardless to me, it don't matter, you know, and I don't see the need in anybody, if we can do it without anybody spending any money. I mean, you know, you guys understand, we don't have to spend to, you know, for a lease. I mean, there's agreements to be made, and I'm sure that not the smart person that comes with all the frequencies and all this stuff knows me did that. You know, I guess if we can find out, we can talk to Evan, we can go to him or get him to call us, I mean, and say, you know, here's, because somebody giving you, you know, it's their opinion, you shouldn't do something, doesn't mean that, you know, my opinion don't matter except to me. I mean, you know, so it may not make it, go ahead, Mr. Judge.
Why wasn't this brought up when we approved the money?
you approve the money without the grant.
But we still ain't got the grant, right?
We are awarded the grant, but the contract's not complete.
How much of a lease are you talking about? I mean, is it yearly or 5 year?
On the quote or the lease of our frequencies?
Like if you're gonna lease to us.
Oh, whichever, you know, I mean, personally,
I believe our urgency would be able to do it indefinitely. I mean, as long as it's leasing, because here's the thing, and with what was asked by the mayor from the emails and letters that we both agencies have received, he stated in there that if we were to give them over to the county, put them in the county's name, that if something were to happen, we were to back out, we'd be able to get one of our 2 frequencies back per each agency. And if something were to happen, they were dissolved, to hold them until they were able to do it, then the other 2 come back. Well, after contacting the FCC, if they go into the county's name, we now have to reapply for those frequencies, have to pay the price of what frequencies they're going for at that time to reobtain it. So the deal is, we're actually doing them a favor by it, because I mean, I haven't checked, I didn't ask, but if they're so hard to find, I guarantee you, from what I've gathered, a frequency can cost you anywhere from $20,000 to $60,000. Who's gonna pay that back if we need it?
Is Churchill licensed for the primary frequency they're using right now at its location?
The license I have there, yes, I was told yes, by the lady at FCC that I contacted.
The one that I pulled 2 months ago, says differently. I don't know if that's correct or not. That's what you get into when multiple people manage radio licenses as well. Hawkins has 2 frequencies. One is for Town Knob only. The second is for Town Knob and Clinch Mountain only, no short mountain license. Churchill has a license for their station on one and Bays Mountain on the other.
I can't speak for Churchill, but I know Hawkins County, our frequency that's on Short Mountain now was added by prior administration in EMA. So we're working to get those licenses corrected and stuff like that. And you know, we're paying for the license now. And so, and I'm sure if we done a lease or whatever, we could work out something on that. But when backing up just a little bit, you know, they said that they were going to continue to build the system, the new system now with the money from the savings, if you will, and then the grant. I asked who would be responsible for maintaining that 2005 equipment that the county would leave us on. that's, you know, like I said, it was from Grant. Basically, the mayor told me that it would be left in the county's name, and we would be responsible for the maintenance on that. So it's kind of backwards there. I mean, he's asking, you know, for us to do something, but then again, he's asking completely different on the other hand. So, I mean, what do you do?
It seems like no grounds to work to try to find a middle.
Yeah.
Another thing we run into here is our sites are all different. Bays Mountain is owned by the Homeland Security District. There's some questions on who exactly controls that. Town Hall's owned by the county. Short Mountain's owned by PBS, and we do a lease for it. And then Clinch Mountain it's basically a long-term lease, but it's really an ownership. It's a very lengthy lease on it. It's like a 99-year lease or something, so all of our sites are a little different. When you start moving on another party and negotiating with those sites, it could definitely make the cost go up on those sites as well.
Would it be one lease or two?
We'd probably have to do one for Churchill and one for Hawkins County. I mean, I don't think our board would object to doing a long-term lease because, like I said earlier, we don't have 51,000 roughly sitting around to contribute to a system. So why in the world, when we signed the lease with the county, why in the world would we pull out?
And we can put the frequency where we want.
Right, and you know, as long as we can use the system.
This project is currently at being with the grant authority.
Well, I'll say this, you know, not knowing, you know, the legal ramifications or anything else, and I'm just making a suggestion, to the board. I would be interested in seeing a lease agreement. I mean, and seeing what you guys can bring to us, you know, and then in the meantime, ever how long it's gonna take to get back to us, I would be interested in, Jamie, you know, we can get together with Evan and somebody tell me or tell this board, actually, not just me, tell this board why we can or cannot. I mean, like I said, somebody's opinion is one thing, but if they say no, because the grant's county name, they have to give it to us, the only way we can do it, we have no way around it, then we have no way around it. But in the meantime, we might as well, you know, see the lease agreements, you know, and see, you know, we might as well get the ball rolling. We're not gonna hurt anything if we don't. If it don't work out, it's not gonna hurt a thing. And I don't know, you know, if I need a motion from the board to, tell them to go ahead and bring that to us.
Well, if you lease property, for example, the one you lease it to, you got control over that, just like the county would have control over.
They're freeholders.
The only question I would have is, if you apply for grants in the future, with us having control over that, with that lease, how would that affect any grants? That's the only question I have.
Another thing that I forgot to bring up, there will be 3 constructed repeaters that are county owned. We currently use them for law enforcement, EMS, and fire. There's nothing that says we can't use one of those for 2 agencies such as EMS and rescue, or fire and rescue as well. Correct.
Does, and I'm asking because this is the way it goes, part of it. No, we got some commissioners and ex-commissioners too. The question that Commissioner Thacker just asked about how that would come up, does anybody know the actual answer to that without us? I mean, Stacy, do you know any clue? I don't mean throw you up there, Stacy, but I mean, you did this for longer than most.
I would think it would enhance your possibility of getting a grant in the future based upon the fact you don't have ownership of channels for the county. So if they lease their frequencies to the county, then in my opinion, I think that would be justification for the county to proceed forward with grant funding for future expanding to expand the whole radio system.
If the county had control over the lease, I don't see how that would interfere with any grants to use the station.
No, you would basically just be managing those frequencies, and keeping the upkeep of the cost of the equipment like it would be the counties, I would assume. And they would retain ownership. And I kinda understand where they're coming from, because if something happens, if the county goes to a digital system or something, more advanced in the future, and then if they sign these frequencies over to the county, they have to go back through the whole process to reobtain radio frequencies unless the county brings them on board.
They kinda go back into a plot, and then we'd be applying for them just like, you know, if the county tried to get some frequencies.
Are you speaking as the current grant or future grant, Stacy?
The future grants.
Okay.
That's what I was referring to, is how it affects future grants.
Gotcha.
And I don't see how it would or could, because we would have a lease of those, so
Yeah.
I don't see how it could affect any grant that we might.
Communications is very tight on what you can apply for grants for. We were very fortunate to get the grant we were. It took a lot of work to get it. The reason for that is a federal requirement for P25 equipment. For example, regular analog radio is about $230, $250, something like that. A DMR radio is about $900. The radio they want you to buy on those type grants is $4,000.
But you don't carry the weight, I mean, it's just, you're willing to, no matter what. I mean,
I've been told to advance this project, and that's what I'm doing.
There you go, good, thanks, sir. We got a recommendation from the board or anything, somebody?
Let me ask this question.
Go ahead, Mr.
If
Moore.
they're willing to lease, why isn't the mayor willing to accept that?
That's a question we've
That's
asked.
the question we
I
have.
mean, is he firm that he wants you to transfer it to him?
The last communication we had was it was firm that one way he'd have it would be by that.
And
But if
then
we have any questions, we can contact him directly to discuss any of this.
Well, I'm like Dawson and Mr. Thacker, I think, you ought to accept the lease on the property.
that was the last communications he had with the grant company. I was present for those conversations.
I mean, I'm willing, like I said, on that one part, not knowing 100%, like he said, that Evan's opinion was that it needed to be county's name, but I'm willing to, you know, until we find that out for sure, if somebody on the board, you know, me being chairman, if somebody else wants to make a recommendation, that we look at lease agreements, and you guys get some lease agreements drew up. And, you know, and you need to make it up, you know, whether you wanna do a yearly thing as commissioners, I mean, it can be voted on yearly, 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, whatever.
I think honestly, a long-term lease would be better, and I think that would be better for the county as well.
Benefit both agencies, the county and the agencies themselves.
I mean, I'm okay with, you know, I mean, and that's an easy reconcile, I mean, cause like I said, it may come up that we find out that we don't have a choice, that they have to 100% in our name, and then we nip it in the bud, you'll either say, yeah, we do it, or no, we can't, and then it's done, I mean, so if not, then we do the lease agreement, in my mind, so I mean, but,
I mean, lease agreements can be saving both the county and agencies the same thing, whether they continue to try to pursue the final frequencies and have to spend that money as a county, and or we have to build our own system.
yeah, and you're talking.
So I mean, do it this way, there's no money exchange, there's no expenditure on both of them, and both the county can still benefit from having a radio agency on the same radio equipment, to provide rescue service for this county, and we also are able, there to utilize those channels.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Well, I guess, one thing is, you know, we wasn't made aware of this before this meeting, or I wasn't anyway. But I wouldn't have any problem with the lease, but I would probably suggest that you all prepare that lease, long-term, whatever.
Right.
10-year, whatever you feel comfortable. Bring it back to this committee next month, and in the meantime, the chairman, talk to the mayor and Jamie, and see what the situation really is. Would that be feasible to do?
Yeah, we can definitely, like I said, that one, the one question lingering over is, you know, legality. Does it have to be or don't have to be, on or lease, it's those words, I mean, that's the only question, I mean, but we're moving a step forward if we go ahead and get lease agreements, you know, and y'all draw up what y'all would like to do.
Right.
We're at least moving forward, you know, and then if we find out, like I said, if we find out that it has to be on, no matter what, can't do anything about it, then, you know, we wasted a little bit of time, and then we know, we gotta move it, then we gotta go for it from there.
We'll know what we've got.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather see that done than I would wait another month and we find out what's legal and not legal, and then have to come back to y'all and say, let's come another meeting just to tell y'all to do this, so, what if the board,
Is it possible that the county attorney, we could work with him on that as well, coming up with a contract?
I'm
Lease
sure you
agreement.
could.
Lease agreement.
I'm sure you could, I mean, I don't think probably there, we can speak with him there, I don't care a bit to, we can speak to him there, if you wanna call him, or I can call him for you there.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, it's his job, yeah, I don't care a bit, you know, that'd be, the easiest way to do it.
And that'll give us time, I mean, when are you looking, maybe sometime in January coming back? Cause we don't wanna miss out, if they've already sent this out to bid, we don't wanna miss out on, cause like I said, we're on 15 year owned equipment that is gonna be, that's, the county's still gonna own, but the county is gonna make us, maintain it, which really doesn't seem fair to me, but, that's just Corey Young's opinion.
Well, I'll ask you like this, Court, you know, how, you said, how long do you have to do, I guess it's how critical is it, how fast you need it done, I mean,
Yeah.
because.
Has this new system went out for bid yet?
It isn't a bid process, the contract's not been signed yet, but Evan plans to have it ready for bid at the moment the contract comes across his desk.
Could I ask how the frequencies that you're planning for and that contract is set up? But before, and it come up, it's passed through these meetings a little bit in the past. I'm Eddie Williams, Hawkins County Rescue Squad. There's been a couple times in the meetings I've been here, it's mentioned that the county would need these frequencies to do this. That they would need the rest of the frequencies. So, if we don't get them, how are you gonna build the system?
As it's configured now to be analog, these needs would basically be for more future expansion if went to digital in the future, is the plan there. But as far as the way this thing's sent out to bid is conventional analog.
So you've got the frequency to do it.
In conventional analog, yes, but we don't have we have the ability to take the sheriff's office to digital potentially. EMS and rescue, there's absolutely no way without this partnership. It's not uncommon for these type partnerships. It's happening in multiple counties around us as we speak. Basically, anybody that's not on taggings are being required to have these type partnerships to basically get enough frequencies to do what's needed. It's happening in multiple counties in East Tennessee.
So you can't do what you plan to do without these frequencies.
We couldn't expand in the future, which has been made well aware of during these meetings that VHF frequencies were very hard to get. We've got multiple meetings that's been brought up in. VHF carries in these mountains better than anything else, but it's the frequencies just aren't available.
We need their frequency.
We need a partnership.
You know, I guess at the end of the day, what concerns me is, when you're told by the main person of the county, the mayor, that, the services that you provide are not required by law that the county provides. But I can show you that we've had, almost 450 calls this year, so somebody needs our service. We have to be able to communicate. That's the number one thing. On every call we have, that's how we get the call, is by communication. So we have to have that. I mean, we can have 20 trucks, but if we don't have communication, we can't do anything. So.
You know, and I was always under the understanding this whole time since the radios, aren't doing up the part and everything else. I've always been under the understanding this whole time that everybody was, what we were doing was gonna be for everybody. It was gonna be for everybody.
So did we.
That was our understanding also.
And I mean, and every vote that I, cast or everything for this was because it was gonna be for everybody. I mean, I don't need a radio, but it's, I'm not part of that everybody, but I'm part of that everybody if I need help.
Right.
And I want, I surely want somebody, I want somebody from law enforcement or EMS or rescue squad, if I need somebody to get a hold of, I'm gonna get a hold of them. That's the reason, I don't wanna have to match any money or spend any money out of the county, nothing, but I mean, we're gonna have to do something, so, I guess I'll put it to the board now, Mr. Mayor, let's put the form of a motion, state your motion, how you wanna do it. I'm chairman, so nobody will do it, I'll do it anyway. I'll put in form of a motion. You wanna do it?
No, I wanna ask one more question.
Go ahead, go ahead.
And the question that I have is that we're going from theory to an opinion. I think before we really reach out and do a whole lot, we gotta have facts, legal facts, so this thing don't backfire or whatever.
That's
So
what I'm
let's get
saying.
off of opinions
Yeah.
and get the facts, and then we can do whatever we need to do.
Yeah.
But today, I'm not really in position to say, hey, we need to do this, or point a finger at this or that. We need to know what legally can be done and not done.
That's what I was suggesting earlier, though, that, you know, they can be hired police.
I don't have a problem with them doing that and being prepared, I don't have a problem. As long as they're not saying, hey, you know, this is gonna be the way it's gonna go.
We can,
Everybody understands
anyway.
that it's preliminary.
And they know that, I mean, like I said, cause those words in there between Lisa and Owen, if they come back and Jamie and the mayor, and I find out that we have no choice but to own, then, you know, we're gonna go back and, go a different route. But if we don't have to own, and we can, Mr. Gibbs?
Finish what you were saying. Are you through?
No, but if we don't have to own again, like I said earlier, then, you know, I would, you know, I'd like for y'all to be prepared, just say, here you go. Let's move forward now, you know.
But we have a county attorney to make that decision.
Yeah, and he can tell us, yes, you gotta have it, no, you don't, and that's what and it ought to be easy enough, you know, I'll call Jim when we leave here to, and have him get on and go ahead and find out. You know, and just see what we can get started. Like I said, if we don't have to own it, then let's all get on the same page, get on board. I mean, almost like Mr. Gibbs, I'm sorry, go ahead.
This sort of goes in line with what you're talking about, the legal. Would it be possible, and this could be another, if the legal, could you have a joint ownership of this? And it goes back, Hawkins County could own the ownership with it, with you all, and then in a clause in the ownership, if something happens, it would revert back to you?
I think you can put them as a control point, I believe is what it's called. Basically, it's basically like a lease. They still have, the county would still have the ability to do whatever, with that frequency and use it for whatever.
But I'm just thinking, if the grant says it has to be ownership,
Right.
Is that a possibility?
Kinda like a cosigner for a house or
So
something.
like co-signer on a house, could that?
to reapply for it.
Yeah, you might have to, I don't know the answer to that.
Well, I understand being legal, but would that be an option with you all? That's what I'm throwing out.
Yeah, that would just be something we have to take back to our board and see.
Yeah, it would have to be a decision by on my board also.
Talking about doing like a joint license.
The joint license,
Right,
basically.
yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Jason, sorry.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this until we get all the legalities worked out.
I got a motion on the floor, then, I'm sorry. Is it gonna change? I mean,
In my opinion, of what needs to happen here in the next 10 to 15 years after hundreds of hours of research on this.
Mr. Jesse, you okay with him stopping right quick? Are you okay with Director Miller stopping right quick?
After doing hundreds of hours of research on this problem, this is solely my opinion. My opinion is, at some point, we'll end up on tagging. The county's not willing to pay for that at this moment, obviously because of the overall cost. In my opinion, the second best choice for this county is DMR, which we definitely need to make sure we're able to get to at some point, which will require these frequencies. Another thing that plays into that is the slotting of antennas. Top slot will always be law enforcement. It's the highest volume channel in our county. Second will be EMS because it's the second highest volume in the county. Fire will be the third slot, rescue is the fourth slot typically. The advantage of doing a partnership is if you move rescues, emergency traffic, like their car accidents, stuff like that up to that second slot with EMS, that type of radio traffic would be in that slot. At the second slot on the tower, they would respond to calls, that type of stuff, on that channel that's a higher elevation, and then have a lower slot on the antennas that would be for the private stuff like drowning, searches, that type of traffic. Like I say, that's solely my opinion, but I think we need to have a partnership in place to be able to do that at some point in the future. This analog system will greatly improve what we have now, there's no doubt in my mind. But will it be perfect? No. You spend $10 million, it won't be perfect.
Well, I just think what you said, there's nothing to table, Commissioner Jesse, so we don't have to table anything.
But we need to look at this as ways to expand in the future. We don't want to back ourselves in the corner and not have a way to expand this in the future if it can be prevented.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I mean, and it goes here, bottom line is, we can't tell you if you wanna get a lease together agreement or not. If you wanna get it, bring it to you. Y'all do it all day long.
Right.
I mean, and that's what I would suggest. I mean, we can put it in the form of motion to do that. That way we can call a meeting, and the next time we have a meeting, we can bring it back. And in the meantime, you know, while you're just preparing paperwork and everything else, we can get together, you know. I need you to talk to the lawyers too, and explain everything to them too, you know, and I would, you know, like Commissioner Gibson said, you know, maybe a co-owner thing, lease versus own, and we find out, and he'll need to find out the legal, facts of it there, and like I said, if there's no reason we can't do it, then I'm good with whatever the commission wants to do, so I mean, I don't know if we need to have a motion to have them bring it back, I mean, I'll put,
He made a motion, so he'll have to withdraw it, or?
no, he don't have, there's nothing to table, so there's no motion.
Okay.
He made a motion to table, there's nothing to table, so.
I'm with you.
Well, that's one last thing to say, and it, from a comment that Director Miller said a few minutes ago, if VHF frequencies are so hard to come by, why would two agencies want to give them up, considering this agency right here, a minimum, if you charge $10 an hour per person, I have my departments responded to calls and or done standby, this doesn't include maintenance, insurances, bills, or anything like that. Churchill Rescue Squad has provided $110,000 worth of service to Eastern Hawkins County for me to give up something that I have that's so hard to get.
My answer to that is move 40 foot up on the antenna spacing for emergency calls for the citizens of Hawkins County.
We've been able to do it right now with 40 foot below, and not had an issue with it,
Incorrect.
or wherever we're
That
sitting.
that gets into several areas of discussion. The installation is nowhere near correct.
What's the pleasure of the board?
We have antennas literally touching each other right now on almost every side.
Somebody wanna make a motion that they go ahead and contact with the county attorney?
We need to know the legality.
That's what I'm saying, and they can work with the county attorney, get the legalities, but they can go ahead and be working on the lease, co-ownership, whatever it ends up having to be, all that can be figured out. And then we know the legalities, and then when we come back in January, we know, you know, one way or the other, either we can.
You put that in the form of motion.
Put it right.
I got a motion on the floor that, we go ahead, that you guys go ahead, and I don't care to work with you with the county attorney, to, you know, find out the legalities on everything. You know, anyway, got a motion that y'all go ahead and prepare lease agreements. Like I said, would be suggested, like Commissioner Gibson said too, that you go ahead and talk to him, you know, be open-minded to co-ownership, just in case the wording helps out for some reason. It may not have to matter, you know, in resolutions or something we can always put into, you know, turn something back over, you know, if we have to one way or the other. You know, this is a good thing about it, so, you know, lease on the floor, y'all go ahead and not the lease. Motion on the floor, y'all go ahead and do that by Commissioner Jesse, got a second, by Commissioner Thacker. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Y'all good? Make a second. Commissioner Thacker.
We'll work with you on that and getting a hold of the county attorney and getting something,
Yeah.
where we can potentially get something in place by January or something.
That's fine.
We just need to know what we can.
Yeah.
actually vote
Legally
on.
do, absolutely.
Yeah, we may not be able to, I mean, you know, we may be, all this may be redundant. I mean, you know, it may not do any good at all.
But at least we'll have some.
Well, no, I mean, I'd rather know, when y'all come back in January, I'd rather look at it and be able to know here, okay, this is legally, we can do this.
Right.
Or, you know, no, we can't, we gotta go a different route. Then we know, I mean, and it's not gonna hurt anything. Go ahead.
I'm kind of stuck in the middle here. I've been told by my boss to advance this project, and that's what I'm continuing to do.
I got you, but yeah, no, you're good, yeah, I mean,
I just want you to know this project's not stopping until January. It's continuing,
I understand.
because For December, we've had people endangered by this, and these kind of projects just take forever, so we're definitely not gonna stop it.
Yeah, well, I understand, 'cause like I said, we're still waiting, like you said, the paperwork and everything else, still gonna be a while anyway, so.
I have a question, so if the county goes ahead and builds out this system, and we find out that we can, cause right now we're being left on that 15-year-old equipment, and we find out in January, that we can do a lease agreement, partnership with the county, are we still gonna be able to get on that system?
I don't think either one of us would doubt, Mr. Miller might.
You got that question one more time?
So if we find out between now and the next public safety meeting, we come up with a contract and, it's deemed that we can, lease our frequencies to the county and be on the grant equipment, but the project's already been out for bid, are we still gonna be able to get on that system?
I think it'd be a question for the mayor's office, because that's gonna be through purchasing.
And that concerns me because,
Basically, the funding's left.
so are we gonna be wasting our time
You're trying to do
doing
this.
the lease?
We don't know, I don't know.
This project, we're still looking at 3 months before equipment's placed, so I would think so. Now, when equipment is ordered, I don't know the answer on that, because that'll all depend on when Evan receives that contract from the governor.
Mr.
I
Miller, do you have any idea when all this is gonna be put in place?
The bid specs have been sent to Evan for review. He'll have different purchasing parameters and what typical county purchases would have, because he's administering that grant. That document's to him now and being revised, and my understanding is he has to wait on that contract from the governor, but once it's in place, it's a go on his end as long as everybody's agreed to the bid. So we're basically hinging, our timeline's hinging on when they receive that document from the governor's office. And like I say, everything's delayed due to COVID. It could be short amount of time, could be a longer amount of time, depending on their workload.
The bid specs that have been sent out, will a partnership change any of that? Will there be any additional equipment that you have to?
Yeah, the bid specs that were sent out are with the legal and rescue squad on current equipment.
I don't know for sure, but I would think, and just me personally, I'll find out, I'll talk to the county attorney, I would think that'd be putting y'all on the frequency regardless, would be a county commission decision. And it may not be, I don't know, like I said, Jamie has to go ahead, like I said, he's gotta go ahead and do his job too. He can't stop either, so, but we'll just work as fast as we can to get some answers. And like I said, as soon as we leave here today, I'll give y'all Jim's number 2, the county attorney, and I'll call and talk to him about the questions too. We'll figure it out as fast as we can, and it may be that, if we don't have to wait, if we have to call another meeting to get it done faster, we call another meeting. We call this one, spur of the moment, if we have to call another meeting, if we find our answers out next week, and we have to call another meeting, we'll call another meeting right then. We can call them 2 days in a row for it. We'll do what we gotta do as fast as we gotta do it. I just want everybody be able to communicate, one way or the other.
So do we.
Yeah, everybody be communicating, that's, but, I'll have to find out, I'll work with you on it.
All right, I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, guys.
That's purchasing equipment.
I also had, and I don't know if anybody,
Thanks to governor.
I don't know, I had phone calls from a couple of fire departments about the school meeting, so. No, you're good, I don't know, you sure?
I just didn't forget anything else to bring in.
Well, go ahead, you need to real, I don't know, you got to, but we talked about it. Yes, I don't know, I don't know. Everybody good on the rescue squad, the frequencies and stuff for now? Any more questions? Cause like I said, if you don't ask, Corey or one of them, I'm not gonna be able to answer them. All right, I had some phone calls from, some fire departments too, and talking about some of the, issues. Some of it was, the same thing as hazmat, I believe, not receiving their, contribution monies and stuff like that. And I had told the people who called me, that's something that we've got to discuss, with the mayor's office and, find out but we need to know, if you're getting it, if you're not getting it, why you're not getting it, what you're being told, why you're not getting it. Because we can't move forward with something and help out if we don't know the questions to. So if there's anybody here with other agencies that, have something going on that, you need to bring to light, now's your time to do it. If not, then, I'll assume that we're good on that. Dr. Oaken?
I just want to speak briefly. I'm Stacy Vaughn, I'm the fire chief, one of the volunteer fire departments, Stanley Valley, and have received several certified letters from the county mayor, and also one hand delivered from the EMA director to my office, requesting different things. And a few months ago, I stood out in the hall here with the county mayor, and I made a comment to him, you'd only want our bank statements if you think that we were lying, because we turn our budgets in to the mayor's office and state every year. Well, lo and behold, at that time, I didn't realize what was going on. And I guess I owe the mayor an apology, because he knew something was going on that I didn't with an individual that was involved in nonprofits, and it's a comptroller investigation going on with that. But with that being said, I have everything I can find some TCA regarding the mayor has the right to audit the county offices and basically anybody that receives tax dollars from the county for operation. There's also a TCA that states it's the duty of the county legislative body to adopt a budget and to appropriate the funds for the ensuing fiscal year for all county departments and agencies. So basically what I'm finding by law from talking with CTAS and the head of the commission, Tennessee County Commission Association, the county legislative body dictates where the money goes when you approve your budget and your appropriations for nonprofits. Now, I have Stanley Valley's information to turn over to the mayor to go over, because basically if you don't turn it over, it's gonna look like or I would assume that a nonprofit might be guilty of something. But with that being said, within the TCAs, I can't find any law in the TCA that dictates, that gives the mayor the authority to withhold funding. And that's my question to you all. I know some other fire departments that are here today have turned in their stuff and was very delayed getting their payments. And I guess once an article came out in the paper, the news media reached out, maybe they got paid, I don't know. Tim, have you got your payment? Did you get it before or after news media was involved?
Got it after.
After news media was involved. So my question is, what TCA supports the mayor withholding the funds that has been approved by county commission? And if you all can check into that between now and then. Now, from what I'm seeing, he wants to look, which we're all nonprofit. Anybody can come in and look at any of our stuff at any time. But I can't find a TCA that states that he can withhold funding. I mean, I'm a county employee, and if you all vote me in a raise that he don't agree with, does he have the authority to withhold my raise and not give it to me? Any more than he would have the authority to withhold nonprofits' money and not give it to them. So that's just my question to think. My department was in pretty good shape. I mean, we haven't turned in our request to get our money yet, but I'm gonna turn it in today while I'm here in Rogersville. But some of the departments were needing it, so we understood hazmat was getting pretty low, wasn't getting their money. But I don't think you can hold them hold their donation ransom. That's my only question, if we can just find what statute that's giving him the authority to hold the nonprofits' money.
Well, I called, county attorney, and the county attorney agreed with what you just said. county attorney, and like I said, anybody can be wrong any given time, but I was told by the county attorney that the, mayor, once we approve as the legislative body, the commission approves to give, like you said, that he has to give.
Well,
Now, you know, he did say, you know what, he said, if nobody's got anything to hide, like you said, go ahead and show it, that way there's nothing to worry about, but, and the point you made, that regardless whether you show it or not, according to the county attorney, the money has to be given after we, as a commission, approve to give it. He can't hold it ransom like you said, anything.
with the setup of the county mayor the way we have it here, the county mayor has veto powers. So once the county commission approves a resolution, the mayor has 10 days to either sign that resolution to take effect upon him signing it, or whenever the resolution states, or after the 10 days, the resolution goes into effect by law without the mayor's signature. So it's my understanding the budget and the appropriations resolution, has not been vetoed, and 10 days has passed. So whether he signed it or he hadn't signed it, by law, that appropriation resolution would be in effect and would be a good standing resolution.
I talked to the mayor I think it was last Monday. And, I think there was maybe 3 fire departments and, hazmat that had not received their money. You standing by being one of them. But I don't think turning the report in, according to him now, I'm just going by what he said. Turn that report in don't mean he's gonna go down there and go through that and with a fine tooth comb and audit everything, do an audit on it. All he wants is that turned in. He wasn't gonna audit, he wasn't gonna go through sheet by sheet, look at it, and see what the expenditure was. He just needed it turned in. That's the indication I got, you know, when I talked to him.
And with what's transpired in the last few months, I 100% know why he would want to look at it.
Well, now, that's all he indicated to me that he wanted was just turned in.
My recommendation would be, for future budgets and future appropriations, would be for county commission to pass a resolution to add to the requirements for nonprofits, that if you have a set policy, because it's county tax dollars that county commission is giving to nonprofits to operate. So basically, they're gonna have to follow the guidelines set forth by the legislative body. So if you guys put into effect, along with turning in your budget report, you're to turn in the last year's bank statements with it, then I think that might give more grounds to go on, and maybe wouldn't have a lot of people,
Well,
for lack of better terms,
that's
kind of,
what we've got in place now.
you're not turning in bank statements, you're turning in a budget, and you could write anything down on that budget and turn in. So
So he's right, we can turn it and do it that way so that, you know, there's no more questions about it, and that was the impression I got too, that, you know, he was just trying to be, like you heard, he was just trying to be a good steward of the money, making sure nobody did do anything wrong against, and I see where he's come from, you know, but like I said, there's.
But now, if you add that as part of the stipulation of a nonprofit getting that county donation,
And there'd be no more.
then you really could hold their funds based on them not complying with that. That would give you some more teeth to withholding the funds before you give it to, but currently you don't have a resolution passed stating that has to be turned in.
And that's what I was talking about, county attorney, legally, he has to, but we could do that next time, you know, we could pass that, and that's something we probably should. We probably should have already done it there, you know, especially since everything has happened.
Because if
And
you
it
do
could be
that,
everybody.
you have a bank statement for the prior fiscal or calendar year to go with the same budget you're turning in, and everything should
should
match.
that way too.
I think part of the holdup was just what you mentioned when you first got up, about one, you know, that had transferred money from one
Yeah.
Right.
to another, all that. I think that's probably part of it. Now, he didn't tell me that, I'm just saying that.
Well, I'm assuming that would be why I would want to look, but you know, we're not all guilty. And I kind of feel like we're all getting thrown in the pile of being guilty until we prove ourselves innocent. And I mean, I work with some great people out here that dedicate a lot of time that wouldn't take a dollar from nobody for nothing. And we just want to do what's right for the county, and we're going to comply with the bank statements. But I would recommend for future, I would put that in the form of a resolution and have that added to the sheet that goes to the nonprofits of what you have to do to get your county donation, and make it a requirement that a year bank statements or 2-year bank statement be accompanied with it.
Well, here's what some people don't understand though, and I mean, I know you do, you've been on the county commission, and I was in that fire department for, 25 years ago.
One of the founding members, actually, charter member.
But all the things that fall under contribution is a gift. You give it, you got extra money, you give it to help those fire department, EMS, whatever it may be. Well, they said and this come through the budget committee, they said, say the library, for example, they had to meet maintenance of effort. Then I said, well, if you've got to meet maintenance of effort for the library, then it needs to be under a line item budget. Instead of being under contributions, it needs to be a line item. It's still under contributions, even though they say we ought to meet maintenance of effort. But a contribution is a gift.
Correct.
And that means you can get it or you may not get it.
Well, I know we got cut a few years ago, 2%, and now the county commission has taken care of us the last 2 years and give us a little more extra, but our basic funding is still cut by that 2%. I know some of the other individuals, nonprofits have got their increase back. But Hawkins County operates, as you know, on a $100 million budget. County school system, we're $100 million. We have about 1 million, maybe a little over 1 million that goes to contributions. Out of that 1 million goes to contributions, you've got about 267,000 of that goes to your fire service. So you're getting a county-wide provided fire service for not even $300,000 with all the assets that they brought in. So out of that $100 million budget, fire service is 260-some thousand of it.
Well, like I said, I think it's last Monday, but anyway, all he indicated to me was he just needed that turned in. He didn't say he was gonna sit out and go through everything and make sure that everything was, every penny was.
Well, obviously, he would look for things that would stick out.
Yeah,
Like if
I
you're
mean,
buying-
anybody would in
Right.
that position,
But you answered my question, and I'll turn our stuff in, and we'll see next week how our money goes in.
And I think it's the right thing to do, like you said, turn it in, and he's happy, and everybody put out the.
And then maybe during budget hearing, sit down with us.
Yeah.
Sit down,
We're
go
looking
in,
for the suggestion about.
and see what the purchase, because there may be purchases that you may not understand, and he may not, that are things that we bought that you're not gonna know what it was for or what it is. But if there's questions, by all means, reach out, contact us.
Creating a resolution that covers, turning in bank statements, whatever else, is a good suggestion, Stacy, I appreciate that. And I guess
but I don't think there'd be any problem at all once they turn it in. It may be 2 or 3 weeks before you get it, or whatever, I don't know. I don't think it'd be a problem once you turn it in, as far as getting your money.
Well, thank y'all for your time, thank you for the job you do.
Thanks, Stacy. Eric, you got a question on it?
Yeah, I'd just like to add something to what Stacy said. I talked to the mayor myself, a month or so ago, trying to get the money for the Firemen's Association, which took me a couple of weeks to get it, but I got it. But in regards to their bank statements being turned in to the mayor, I asked him, I said, why do we need to turn in our bank statements for the money that we get out and do have donations give to us, our fundraisers? I said, as far as the county contributions, I don't have any issue with at all with giving you bank statements showing what that goes to. But what we get out and work for ourselves is our money. We shouldn't have to report that to anybody except our community. I just wanted to add that to that. I mean, I don't mind giving the bank statement for what the county contributions are. That would be simple.
I think that's on the fire.
If that funded us totally, it'd be simple. That don't fund us half of the year. Time we pay our insurance and all of our upkeep on our vehicles and everything, that money is gone within 4 or 5 months. It's the rest of the year that we have to make up our own money to operate on. And that shouldn't be anybody's business except the
community
department
taking
and the community,
Yeah,
once
I
they
agree.
contribute.
I agree, Curtis, on that one. I mean, your money's,
We've not got
what you
our money.
gotta work for. I mean, and I don't know legally if, how anybody could or could not, but like Mr. Thacker said, watching, like you agreed that, the contribution money, I can see where, hey, what you do with it, anyway, anybody else in the commission got anything else?
Well, I'd just like to say I appreciate everybody that worked with the fire department, the EMS rescue squad. They dedicate a lot of time to it. I know I did when I was in it. And it takes a lot of your time up, and I really appreciate all of them that do that work. We need.
I got a question I've always wondered, and it may be something that's been answered 20 times, but I'm just gonna ask it. Why rescue squad EMS, why aren't they one entity instead of two? And that may be,
It's two different services.
One is paid, one's volunteer.
I mean, could it not be under the same thing, though? Would you not have like more
Let me answer that.
manpower? I don't know.
I was around when that happened. I was actually on,
It used to be, right?
the rescue squad used to do both.
Oh, so yeah, okay, rescue squad, yeah.
Let me say it that way. Back when, it was in '87, I was the captain of the rescue squad then, and we was gonna do something because we didn't have the enough EMTs, trained EMTs. Call volume was increasing. We couldn't keep enough volunteers to do all that, so we, as a group, as our board of directors got together and determined something had to be done. We also wasn't ever gonna have paramedics if we just had volunteers, and we needed to have paramedics. They started being surrounding counties. We separated it because we started it with $20,000 of rescue squad money. And we wanted to make sure that something happened. We didn't know, we just started a business here. And we started a business that you run it all on credit. We go out there, we don't know we're gonna get money when we go, still that way. And, we separated it so that if something happened to that, it couldn't come back and just wipe the squad out. That's the reason it was set up. And again, like you said, one is strictly volunteer and the other is paid. And it just simplifies, I think, the books that way.
Yes, Mr. Williams. Bubba?
Well, you all might have talked about this before I got here. I was a few minutes late. But what is the status of hazmat now? Did they get their funding or?
Yeah, they got their funding, it was all turned in and everything, and, looked at it, and they received it. As far as I know, the paperwork was turned in. When I talked with Tony, he said it was all straightened out. Now, whether he's received his money yet or not, I don't know. Somebody else may know or not. I don't know if he's actually received the money yet, but he did tell me that the hazmat was everything straightened out, and they would be receiving their money now, though.
I'd like to add to what Eddie said about the EMS rescue situation. Both those are very vital services that have two different missions at this point in time. Rescue agency extricates people out of vehicles, lost persons, assists for EMS, those type of calls. Jason's got a whole staff of employees that's running nearly 10,000 calls a year. Both those are very vital services, two different missions, but both very vital, and they do help each other out a lot. But both those services do a good job on the Churchill Rescue Squad on the upper end.
Yeah, you boys have been in this your whole life, know all those, it's nothing I've never done, half you people I've met since I've been on commission, which has been a treat to do and a pleasure.
What's your rescue squad call volume, Corey, for Hawkins County?
We're about 450 right now, 449, 450
For this year.
for this year.
You know what yours is, Tim? It's
Just
several hundred.
just shy of 300.
Yeah. So both those, and that's all volunteer, and like I said, Jason's paid personnel, 10,000 calls, there's always something going on every day, around the clock, for both executives.
I like Commissioner Thacker, we all do, commission, we appreciate all y'all, everything y'all do, from volunteers to paid with fire department, police officers, rescue squad, EMS, whatever you are, we appreciate what you do. You're underappreciated like the commission. I put that one out there, it's the truth, because y'all, it's a thankless job most of the time. Anyway, anybody else, commission, got anything?
Move with adjourn.
I got a motion, Commissioner Thacker, we adjourn, got a second from Commissioner Jesse, all in favor? Opposed? Meeting adjourned.